Folks, let me speak to you about price wars. Then I'll get into the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending August the 6th, 2025. If you want to speak directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. We're working with a buyer client, and there's a specific area in Mississauga that they're looking in. There were 4 properties similar in relatively close proximity that we went to go see. The next morning, I receive a call from one of the listing agents of one of those homes asking for my feedback. And the truth was, the homes were okay. There's some things that my clients liked about all of them and some things that they didn't like. They were all pretty similar homes, all priced pretty similar. Nothing really stood out for my client that made him say, yeah, I want to buy that one. So they were still thinking about it. And this is the message I conveyed to the listing agent. I told him exactly what I just told you, exactly what my clients were thinking. I did, though, tell him specifically which other properties in that neighborhood we went to go see. And I'm sure he's familiar with those homes because he's the listing agent. He should be familiar with the properties that his client is, or his listing is competing with. He calls me back later that evening. Now the whole day has passed because we had our initial call in the morning, and he calls me back later that evening and says, Santo, tomorrow we're dropping our price by $100,000. I want you to know, in case it makes a difference, maybe your clients are interested in putting in an offer tonight. But tomorrow, everybody's going to know because it's going to be on the new listing, $100,000 cheaper. The $100,000 drop wasn't enough for my client to want to put in an offer. I'm not telling this story because of the buy side. I'm telling this story from the other perspective, actually, that I want to speak about. And that's these sellers, those 4 were all priced pretty much the same. And now one of them drops their price by $100,000. Imagine what's going through the other seller's mind. Let me give you another example. If there's 100 people standing in a straight line and you need to pick one, it's kind of eeny, meeny. It's like, who do we pick? They're all standing in a straight line. But if one of those people steps forward and somebody says, okay, pick somebody, everybody's staring at the one person who stepped forward. It's just easier to pick that one that is standing out. Well, that's what this seller who dropped their price is actually doing. I'm not telling you for your specific situation, hey, you have to drop your price. I'm just speaking about the circumstances around what the story I'm experiencing here, telling you about. That $100,000 price drop makes this one seller stand out. And I know a lot of sellers will receive, especially in this market, lowball offers. And they get upset and it bugs them and they'll complain about lowball offers. But it's really just your ego that's getting hurt. Nobody else knows about that lowball offer that you received. And it's easy for you to just say, no. And if you feel that your home deserves a better offer, then you wait. But that doesn't affect the market lowball offers. Somebody actually dropping their price, standing out amongst other sellers, all of a sudden, that affects the market. Why should I buy yours for that price when a similar home just one street over is priced $100,000 less? Why? So everybody knows now that truly affects the market. I know sellers are often trying to do things and complain about, the buyers and what they're offering. But man, there's price wars going on in a bunch of neighborhoods across the GTA. There are price wars. You don't know which seller is prepared to undercut your listing price. That's what you got to watch out for. just as much as anything else. If you feel this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, before we get into our regular weekly data, I want to break down the numbers for you on a monthly basis for multiple years. So these numbers here it's for all Peel region, only detached properties, however, and I've got July highlighted in black going back several years all the way to July 2021. So let's look at sales. For July 2025, 456 detached properties were sold. Those sales slightly less than what was sold in June the previous month. But when we look at the previous year, 456, slightly more. It's slightly more than July 2023 and a little bit more than July 2022. So overall, from July 2022, sales for July has been trending upwards. It's not by much, but it has been trending upwards. If we look at July 2021, not even close. 817 were sold in July 2021. We're at 456 for this July. Let's look at average price. For July 2025, the average price of a detached property sold in all of Peel region was $1,282,000. That number is slightly higher than June the previous month, but it's 8.3% lower than July 2024, 7.7% lower than July 2023, and 8.4% lower than July 2022, and 5.7% lower than July 2021. But overall, average sold price for July, although it came up a little bit here in July 2024, overall, average price for July's over the last several years has been trending down. And price in general across Peel region, if you just forget about July, it kind of came up April, May 2023, but since then has basically been trending downwards. But that's over the last 5 years or so. If we go back a little bit further and we look at July 2019, the average sold price in July 2019 for detached properties was $962,000. We're currently at $1,282,000. We're 33% higher today, average sold price, versus July 2019, 33% higher. Here's our regular program. We're going to be looking at detached properties for Mississauga, for Brampton, and Durham region. For Durham, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. Let's start off with Mississauga. 37 detached properties were sold. 3 of those sold at $2 million or more. Normally, we would expect to see sales kind of trending down right now for 2 reasons for this week. One is July and August tends to see activity kind of winding down a bit. But we had a long weekend also in the middle of weekending, August the 6th. And long weekends, we just tend to see fewer sales on those weekends. Not really in this example here, but it may come up and it may affect some of the different areas that we're looking at. Average sold price has been trending down for a while. For weekending August the 6th, average sold price is $1,320,000. And when you look back through the year, 1,320, look, it's not the lowest, but it's amongst the lowest weekly average sold prices that we've seen. Compared to the same week a year ago, 1,320 is 7% lower. The median price of 1,215 is also 7% lower. The dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average, shows average price and median price trending downward. 37 we said were sold. 4 of those sold at list price or more, which is 11%. Listings trending down, which is normal at this time of year. Active listings also trending down. Not aggressively, there's still quite a few properties out there available for sale. We are seeing fewer. I don't know if it's really that noticeable, but overall, sure, fewer active listings. Of all the properties, detached properties available for sale, which is 926, 4% sold for week ending August the 6th. And months of inventory jumped up over the last couple of weeks. We're now sitting at 5.8 months of inventory. Here's Brampton. 32 detached properties sold. No properties sold at $2 million or more. Average price has been trending down for a while. We're now sitting at $1,055,000. $1,055,000 is 7% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of $980,000 is 6% lower. Average price, median price, been trending down. 32 were sold. 10 of those sold at list price or more, which is 31%. 183 were listed. Active listings, only in the last few weeks have we seen a trend downwards. Before that, active listings were still climbing, where in other areas of the GTA, active listings for a few months now has been trending down. It's only just recently started trending down in Brampton. 2.3%, which is a very low percentage. Those are condo sales percentages, actually. But 2.3% of all available detached properties for sale in Brampton actually sold. Months of inventory shot way up to 10 months of inventory. Here's Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. 37 detached properties sold. 2 of those sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price, I put a question mark there, like what's going on? Seems like it's starting to climb. Overall was trending down, but the last couple of weeks it's been up. We're now at $1,130,000. 1,130 is 5% lower than it was the same week a year ago. And it's actually quite interesting. You know, it blows me away how I kind of look at something now at a trend and I say, well, that's odd. And then when you look back a year later, the same trend was happening in that same time. So the orange, that's the current year average sold price. It kind of dipped to the end of July. End of July and August, average price was climbing up. And we see the same pattern a year ago. Just these are the things that make me go, what's going on there? Median price of $1,047,000 is 11% lower than the same week a year ago. Overall, average price and median price have been trending down. These last couple of weeks, though, we've seen an uptick. 37 were sold. 8 of those sold at list price or more, which is 22%. So listings, we're seeing fewer listings. That's trending down. Active listings also trending downwards. Not aggressively, though. 5.5% of all available detached properties actually sold. And 5.5%, 6%, 5%, anywhere around there seems to be the areas that are doing better than a lot of the other areas. It's not like we're seeing 8%, 9%, 10%. 5, 6 kind of seems to be the top, where condo market is more 2 or 3%. 4.2 is the months of inventory for Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. Here's a quick summary of months of inventory. Look, Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby is more of a balanced market. But Mississauga and Brampton, especially Brampton, it's more of a buyer's market. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.